My passion comes from working 22 years in child protection. Working with families is about making sure families are viable. It's all about keeping children with their birth families. Designing services is about allowing families to connect to community resources. You're strengthening families to be self-sufficient, and it's about growing communities. So when services don't exist for families, it can lead to increased mental health issues, a whole range of social and economic issues. But by providing services, it can offer hope to families in a non-judging manner. What I love about working for children's services is the team approach. It has a range of expertise from social work, youth work, teaching, psychiatry, psychology, and specialist counselling skills, nursing skills, and we all feed off each other to provide the best possible service. It's about allowing families to thrive so that we can get them to a sustainable place. The biggest reward you can have is where families contact you and tell you that they're doing okay. But there are some times where families cannot be reunified, and what we then look at offering is a whole range of other supports, and one in particular is our foster care program.
A child can be very hypervigilant. The ability to concentrate could be hindered by having to tense and be ready and have the weight of the world on their shoulders. A lot of the time it doesn't come from a parent's intent to harm. It usually comes from a lack of understanding of what a child needs. I was hands down not going to be a social worker. I was adamant. My mother's a social worker, my sister's a social worker. I did 10 random career tests and they all came up with #1 social work. So I gave it a go, and from day one I absolutely loved it. I'm currently the manager of the Specialist Family Preservation Foster Care program. We recruit, assess, train and provide placement support for foster carers. So what connects us all is representing the voice of the child, ensuring the voice of the child is heard. By the time they hit my program and the reunification program, it's more at the pointy end where the Department of Child Protection is involved. There's a court order. It can be very emotive work, especially when everybody's developed a supportive environment around the birth parents. The foster carers catch up with the birth parents, show them how the child's progressing in care. Everyone's meeting around the birth parent, gearing up for a child to go home. And if the court orders change to long term, it can be really heartbreaking for everyone involved. One of the best things I've come across in my role so far is when you have a really good match with a child and a foster care home, and just the feeling that you know a child's in a safe, loving environment in which they can grow and develop. It's a really great feeling.
I've seen dads that have come from no interaction with their children to being sole custodians, creating really strong environments. So the children come to him and they're not scared of him, and he says, well, actually they're very confident in challenging my decision. Most of my dads come from corrections and child protection issues, so they need added skills because I often haven't had them themselves. I can role model that through my program, and I think that's really important for them to get what their role is as a father. When I was a young lad, I was actually a part of the same system I'm working in. So there was a lot of domestic violence in my family, a lot of dysfunction. I was fortunate to meet a social worker in my mid-20s who got my life back on track, and as a result of that I wanted to give back. So I do this for my girls, in particular my wife I've been with for 34 years, and my two beautiful daughters. They both have seen nothing but positive from me. I used to do cups of tea and fairies, and I actually wore the outfits, which is quite a thing to see when you've got tattoos all over you. Currently, in one of the programs I run, the dads that are in that are actually now running that themselves. So it went from 3 dads to now 40. Some of them are actually doing cooking programs for the community, some are doing computer repair. And this is about positive stuff for them to get some sort of balance on what their actual role is as a father.